I'm joined here today by the killer gorilla himself, Cannonier, set to fight Jack Hermanson in Denmark coming up here soon. Jared, thanks so much for joining me, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, Lucas?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. So you're set to fight in Denmark here, and first of all, whenever I have a guest that's going to fight somewhere a little bit, I don't want to say exotic, but somewhere different like that, I have to ask, is this your first time going to Denmark?
It is my first time going to Denmark, and this will be my first time for with an extended stay in Europe. So this will be a couple of firsts.
There we go. Well, when you say extended stay, does that mean you're going to stay a little bit longer than you normally would for the fight, or does this just mean, just going there?
No, the only other time I've been to Europe was I was passed through Germany when I was being deployed to Iraq, and we stopped in Germany, Zagreb, not Zagreb, Germany. That's from Croatia. Leipzig or something like
Oh, yeah,
that.
yeah.
Starts with an L, some German name.
Yeah.
But yeah, this time I actually be able to come away, leave the airport and
Yeah.
get some air, see what it's like up there.
And this is going to be your second time in a row you're fighting out of the country. Does the UFC want you to visit the world? I mean, what's going on here?
They frowned up my passport, and I did not mind one bit. So, I'll take it. I need to get up. Wish we can do some sponsorships with some airlines so I can have
Yeah.
some good special service. But it's all good.
Hey, but speaking of the airlines, they have to be careful because I know last time I believe they lost your luggage and you had to get all your gear replaced. So they're going to have to be careful this time around.
Yeah, I'm gonna take all my essentials. I'm gonna carry all my essentials on, like my mouthpiece and my cup, which were the two that we were kind of, biting our nails about.
For sure. Let's talk about the fight a little bit. Obviously, five rounder, main event. What was your reaction when they came to you and said you'd be fighting in I don't want to say it's his home country, but it's more of a home for him than it is for you. What was your reaction when they came to you with this main event?
I was just excited they came to me with, and considered me for a main event spot. So I'm excited to be here in this position. I'm going to make the most of it. I'm prepared. I am going to go there and give them a show so they can put me on more main events, even if it is the enemy territory.
For sure. Is this a fight that you were hoping for to kind of further you along with your career? I mean, obviously, since you dropped down, I mean, you beat David Branch, you beat Anderson Silva. Was this the right fight to make to sort of further you along in your career?
I would say so. I mean, he's ranked higher than me, so that's good. Uh, but for me, I don't care who I fight next. It doesn't matter. Uh, yeah, I was ready to fight. I'm ready to fight anybody. So, when they came to me with, Hermanson, I was good to go. I was already looking to get on the fight sooner than that. So I was already good and rearing to go. So when they came to me with a name, I was automatically like yes.
And Hermanson, obviously, his past couple of fights, he's getting big wins. Was this someone that you were familiar with, that you watched before they came to you, or did you kind of have to get caught up by watching some tape?
Well, I did see his fight with Jacare. Um, I did watch that one a little more closer than I've watched any of his other fights. Um, and I saw his fight with Branch only because I wanted to see how Branch performed after he fought me. So other than that, I've seen him fight before, but I guess at that point in time I wasn't at middleweight, so I wouldn't really study watching them as closely as I am now.
And you guys did both fight David Branch, like you mentioned. Is it helpful for you when you have an opponent that fought the same guy as you did, because maybe you guys do something similar, something that you can pick up on, or is that just not really relevant?
Well, his fight with Branch, went about a round shorter. 5 minutes was 5 minutes less of a fight than my fight with him. Um, so there's not really much I can take from that, except for just confirmations of what I already know. That he's aggressive, he's got good grappling. He moves around. He's got good movement as well. So um, that's about it. Yeah. He may be able to take a little bit more from it. He may think that, yeah, if I get him down, you know, I gotta hold him down and some other stuff like that. So if anything, it's more beneficial to him than it is to me.
And I'm sure you studied the matchup a little bit, or at least your coaches. I mean, what do you think of the matchup? Is this something that kind of favors you in this one?
I feel any fight favors me. Anybody can get knocked out. So you know, uh, yeah, it favors both of us. I'm a striker. I think I'm a better striker than he is. Um, I'm sure he feels he's a better grappler than I am. Um, uh, with that being said, people can essentially call this a classic matchup of striker versus grappler and all that stuff. Um, but it's a good matchup for either of us. Depending on the perspective you want to look at it from. But from my perspective, personally, it's a good matchup for me and a bad matchup for him.
And one thing I do want to ask you about is obviously your physique. I mean, when you drop down to middleweight, everyone kind of saw your body sort of transformed, and we did talk about that a little while ago. But how has it been for you trying to keep up, staying at the right weight for 185, and staying as chiseled as you were when you first dropped down? I mean, how has that been so far for you?
Uh, it's been well, I'm not. It hasn't been like a grind or anything. This is just my natural body. A little bit of discipline and some consistent training, consistent hard work. This is what my body. This is what I am. Not what I have become. This is what I already was. Um, so, uh, people are thinking they're seeing this transformation and stuff like that. But this is just you just seeing me. The person who you saw back then was just, probably a lesser experienced version of myself, but still the same me nonetheless.
And one thing I'm curious about is currently you're living in Arizona, which is famous for being very hot. I mean, obviously, I don't know if we're still in the summer or not, but it wasn't that long ago. And you used to live in Alaska. How was it for you changing from everyone knows like extreme cold to all of a sudden extreme heat?
Well, for me, it is easy of an adjustment to make. It is what it is. You can't just come here and know it's hot and not be able to bear it. So I'm fairly resilient to the sun. If anything, I love it. You know what I'm saying? I was happy to get out of the cold. I don't really like the cold myself. It's
Mhm.
too dark. It's too cold for too long. The summers are nice, and there's a hell of a lot of fresh air up there. Um, but I like the sun. You know what I'm saying? My body works fairly well in the heat. I sweat pretty good. So other than that, I was actually excited to get in the sun. And just moving down here, I had a lot of time. Have a lot more time to myself. So it's been good so far.
And obviously, your last fight, it was that big win over Anderson Silva. I believe the victory came via a leg kick. How do you look back at that fight now that it's been a few months since? We know there's a little bit of controversy with the fans and a lot of people that I guess weren't happy with the victory. How do you look back at it now a few months later?
Uh, I wouldn't say it's my masterpiece, but it was a definitely beautiful work of art. Um, and actually, looking back at the fighter that I was then, I'm like, man, this guy, has got a lot of work to do. You know, still got work to do. And that's what I did. I went back into the gym, went back to the drawing board, and started building upon the advancements that I had already made. So, um, yeah, I like watching it. I still watch it every now and then. Especially now to see what my opponents can take away from it. So, but I still like watching myself fight and beat arguably one of the greatest middleweights of all time. So, yeah, something I can, I'll be able to say, when I'm 60, 70, 80 years old.
For sure. I know after the fight you got a lot of hate, obviously in the arena from the Brazilian fans. I guess that makes sense. You beat their legend. But I think you said on social media you had a lot of people coming after you. Has that died down a little bit? I mean, are you able to go on social media and not have to worry about, I guess, trolls and all that stuff anymore?
I don't really get a lot of flack or trolls or anything like that. If they come, then they go because I don't really pay them no
Yeah.
attention. And the only way to feed that type of negative energy is if you give it attention, which is another form of energy. If I feed it energy by attention, then it'll grow. But I don't really have to pay attention to any other hate or flack or anything like that. So I don't know what the hell they be doing out there. I know what I be doing. You know what I'm saying? I wake up in the morning. Send my kids out to school. I go to the gym. I have a good time training and working and learning. And do that. Maybe eat lunch and do it again and eat dinner.
And
So
so, and for this fight, you are headed to Denmark. Is this just strictly business? I mean, show up, fight, leave, or are you going to stay a few extra days? What's kind of the plan for this one?
you said it right, man. Show up, fight, leave. Um, but I will scout the place out. If it's really nice, like a place I'd want to bring my family, some friends to, or something like that. Yeah.
I mean, have you looked up anything about Denmark? I mean, is there anything you want to mentally be ready for, or is it just show up and then we're going to find out firsthand?
I did look up some stuff like what the weather is like. It's pretty good weather up there. It's not going to be too cold. I'm assuming it's pretty similar to Alaskan weather actually.
Yeah.
So, or at least the Anchorage weather, not Alaska, Anchorage.
Hmm.
But probably not as cold in the winter. But I heard it's the happiest place, happiest country in the world, Denmark. It's not too high elevation, so we don't have to worry about oxygen depletion or anything like that. What else have I found out? I'm not sure what a lot of people just speak English there, so that'll be nice. And I don't have to go there and people speaking Danish or anything like that. So it'll be interesting to be able to go because I'll be able to be there and interact. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
With the people there if need be. So that'll be nice. It won't be like going to a foreign country like it was in Brazil where everybody spoke Portuguese and I couldn't understand nobody.
For sure. This fight, it's going to be 5 rounds. Have you had to change your training at all to prepare for that, or do you feel like your cardio is just always ready to go?
I feel my cardio is always ready to go. We do change it a little bit, you know what I'm saying, with 5 rounds in mind. Um, so I am hitting past a few more rounds. I am getting a few more rounds of sparring in the cage and stuff. On top of that, on spar days, I challenge myself. I've been challenging myself since I've been down here is to work myself up to 5 minute rounds. That's one thing I've been training for since I started MMA. Because we all know that those who excel and exceed the rest do so in 5 round fights. So that's been my goal since the jump. To be in shape that's more than enough for 5 minute rounds. I've done it before as a heavyweight. before I got into it was actually my last fight before I got into the UFC. So and again I do it weekly at the MMA lab. So I'm more than ready for 5 minute rounds. I'm especially excited to do it against one person. So that is going to be really fun for me.
Hey, when you say that, I assume for every round you get like a fresh sparring partner to kind of keep you on your toes, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
For sure. Keeping all that in mind, 5 rounds, of course. I'm sure in your mind you don't see it going 5 rounds, but you always have to be ready for that, which brings me to my last question. How do you see this fight playing out with Jack? I mean, how do you see yourself getting your hand raised?
I'm going to hit him. I'm going to hit him pretty hard, too, so I think I'm going to hit him a whole lot more. I mean, I'm going to hit him enough. And I'm going to stuff his shots. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be moving. I'm just going to out fight him. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to out strike him. I'm going to out maneuver him. I'm going to out move him. I'm going to be able to out wrestle him. Only thing I won't try to do is out grapple him. Unless he just gives me something. You know what I'm saying? But you'll never know. You know what I'm saying? I don't really pick which way I want to win. I prefer hitting him. The bell sounds, we step forward, I hit him, he falls, fight's over. You know, I'm looking for the fastest knockout in UFC history.
For sure, man. Well, thanks so much for the time, Jared. I really appreciate it, man. Congratulations on getting the main event. It's going to be a great fight. I look forward to it, man.
Thank you very much, man.